Welcome back to the Overview of Marketing lecture series. In this video, we'll focus on the art of exchange. In marketing, one of our major goals is to create an exchange. An exchange is when people give up something to receive something else they would rather have instead. A marketing exchange can only take place if the following 5 conditions exist. The first condition of exchange is that there must be at least 2 parties. The parties will be people or organizations. I could say that we have 2 parties this way, or I could say that we have 2 parties this way, or I could say that we have 2 parties this way, or even this way. Any way we say it, there must be at least 2 parties. Could there be 3 parties? Yes, absolutely. What about 4 parties? Can we have 4 parties in an exchange? Sure. At the end of the day, we can have more than 2 parties. We just must have at least 2. The second condition of exchange is that each party has something that might be of value to the other party. Normally, we think of money as the medium of exchange when we are talking about giving up something to receive something else that we would rather have. Typically, we trade or give up money to get the good or service that we want. However, we can have an exchange occur without the use of money. We could use barter instead. For example, I could barter a drink at 7 Brew for a marketing textbook. I could barter landscaping services for the drink at 7 Brew. I could trade the cup of coffee I was drinking in the last video for a vacuum cleaner. These might sound like odd exchanges, but they happen all the time. Another example is that neighbors might exchange yard equipment like a lawnmower or hedge trimmer for gutter cleaning services. Other neighbors might exchange board games for puzzles. In this condition, the main focus is that each party has something of value to the other party. It could be money, it could be a textbook, it could be a cup of coffee, or a vacuum cleaner. It could be a lawnmower or gutter cleaning services. There are no specifics on what the item of value is or has to be. It's just that each party has something of value to the other party. The third condition of exchange is that each party is capable of communication and delivery. This means that each party must be able to communicate with the other party. They must be able to speak the same language or understand the other party. The delivery part focuses on the follow-through. Each person or each party must be capable of delivering the item of value to the other person. A handoff in the exchange must occur for each item of value. We may have to drop it off, or we may have to arrange transportation to get us to the drop-off place. The fourth condition of exchange is that each party is free to accept or reject the offer. This condition is saying that each party is able to either accept or reject the item for exchange. No one is being forced to say yes or no. You can say yes or no to the exchange under your own free will. If you are being forced to accept an offer, then an exchange is not actually going to happen, at least in the marketing sense. The last condition of exchange is that each party believes it is appropriate or desirable to deal with the other party. This is saying that it is appropriate and desirable that you feel comfortable in the transaction. This can be a personal or a business-related transaction. It could be a personal feeling. It could be a feeling of whether you believe it's appropriate or desirable to do business with the other party. Let me give you an example. I had someone ring my doorbell, I think one day, late last week, about 8:25 at night. The sun's going down, it's not completely dark at this point yet, but it's getting dark, right? So this individual rings my doorbell. I answer the door. He says, "Hi, I'm with the whatever it happened to be pest control company. Can you tell me who services your house for pest control? No, I cannot. It is 8:25 at night, and I do not want to have this conversation with you right now. We actually ended up talking for a few minutes. I tell him I'm very happy with my current pest control company, which I am, and that I'm not willing to switch. Then we talked for a minute, and I was asking him a little bit about his company and why he is going door to door at 8:25 at night. He tells me that it is company policy that they continue to go door to door selling the pest control services until 9 p.m. on weekdays. All right, I'm going to be honest here. I do not care what anyone is selling. If you're knocking on my door at 8:25 at night, I'm not buying anything you're selling. So in this case, I might have been able to come up with all 4 of the first conditions of exchange, but once we get to that 5th condition, do I believe it's appropriate or desirable to deal with a company that goes door to door until 9 p.m. at night trying to drum up business? No, I do not. This last condition is pretty important. You think it might be kind of a fluff condition? Is it appropriate or desirable? I'm having a conversation with you. Of course I probably think it's appropriate or desirable. Well, not necessarily. Let me give you an example that shows how all 5 conditions can be met with one company, but not another. Let's say I need to buy a new laptop computer. I start looking around at different retailers. I visit Best Buy first. Condition number 1 is met. There are 2 parties, me and Best Buy. Condition 2 is met. I have money and they have laptops. Condition 3 is met. We can communicate in English and they can deliver the laptop to me right there in the store or ship it to my house. Condition number 4 is also met. I'm free to buy or walk away, and they're free to sell to me or refuse the sale. And lastly, condition 5 is met. I believe Best Buy is an appropriate and desirable company to deal with. They have a good reputation, reasonable return policies, and I've had positive experiences with them before. So all 5 conditions are satisfied, and an exchange takes place. I buy my new laptop. Now, let's say I see an ad online from a company I've never heard of offering the same laptop for half the price. The first 4 conditions might be met. There are 2 parties. We both have something of value. We can communicate through their website, and I'm free to accept or reject their offer. But when I start researching this company, I find hundreds of negative reviews. Customers are saying the company never delivered their products, won't respond to emails, and charged credit cards multiple times. At this point, condition 5 is not met. I do not believe it is appropriate or desirable to deal with this company, even though their price is lower. Without that 5th condition being satisfied, no exchange is going to occur. I'm going to pass on their offer. This example shows how important all 5 conditions really are. You can have the first 4 conditions perfectly in place, but if that 5th one isn't there, the exchange simply won't happen. Now, let's break down the art of exchange into its key components. When we're talking about a marketing exchange, there are really 4 main elements that come together to make it happen. First, we have the customer or buyer. Now, who is a customer? A customer is a person or an organization who has a want or need. But it's not enough to just have a want or need. The customer must also have the willingness and ability to buy. Think about that for a second. I might really want to buy a Lamborghini. I might have a need for transportation, but do I have the ability to buy a Lamborghini? Unfortunately, no, I do not. So in that case, I'm not really a customer for Lamborghini. The customer has to have both the willingness and the ability to make the purchase. Second, we have the product. Now, when we say product, we're not just talking about physical goods. A product could be a physical good, sure, like a laptop or a textbook. But it can also be a service, like landscaping or pest control. It can be an experience, like a concert or a vacation. It can even be an idea. The key thing about the product is that it's designed to fill a customer's want or need. That's the whole purpose of it existing. Third, we have the provider or seller. This is the company or organization that's offering the product, whether it's a good, service, or idea. The provider's role is to offer something that satisfies a want or a need. They're the other party in our exchange. And fourth, we have to have the transaction. The transaction is where the exchange actually happens. It's the terms that both parties agree to. Usually, we're trading value to value, and most often, we are trading money for a product or service. But remember, our barter examples from earlier, we could be trading a service for a good, or a good for another good. This transaction is that agreed upon exchange between the two parties. So these four elements, the customer, the product, the provider, and the transaction, these all work together to create the art of exchange. Now, once we understand these elements, we need to talk about one last thing in this video: creating value for customers. Because at the end of the day, if we're not creating value, no exchange is going to happen. There are 3 key steps to creating value for customers. Step 1 is to identify. We need to identify a customer with a want or need that we can address. Notice, I said that we can address. I can't address everyone's wants and needs. I need to find customers whose wants or needs align with what I'm capable of providing. If someone needs brain surgery, eek, I can't help them. But if someone needs marketing education, now we're talking. That's something I can address. Step 2 is to satisfy. This means we need to deliver a product or service at the appropriate time. The timing piece is really important here. If I deliver your product 3 months late, have I really created value for you? Probably not. If you need pest control services because you have a termite infestation right now, and I tell you I can help you in 6 weeks, have I satisfied your need? No. We have to deliver at the appropriate time. And step 3 is to retain. This is about creating new opportunities to win customer loyalty and business. We don't just want to make one sale and be done. We want to create relationships with our customers. We want to keep delivering value so they keep coming back to us. When we retain customers, we're building loyalty, we're building trust, and we're building long-term business relationships. So remember, identify a customer with a want or need you can address. Satisfy that need by delivering at the appropriate time, and retain them by continuing to create value and build loyalty. That's how we create value for customers, and that's how we make successful marketing exchanges happen.